Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to Homeowner Tips. In today's episode, you'll learn about 21 things you must know as a homeowner. My name is Andrew Finney. Please consider me your real estate geek. I am always here to help. If you need help finding a top agent where you live, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. To get the most out of these next 21 points, you'll want to write them down, watch this video from start to finish, and keep track of this and actually think about this as you go along the journey of home ownership. So the first thing that you want to write down is thinking about a water heater as a ticking time bomb, especially if it's leaking. Sometimes water heaters leak from the valves and sometimes they leak from the tank. The valves are pretty easy to have fixed by calling in a plumber or watching a do-it-yourself video probably on YouTube, or learning about it from the home store. Now, if the tank is actually leaking, that's a sign of a problem. And it's a sign of a problem because as it continues to leak, what's going to happen is it will eventually cause an instant flood inside of your house or wherever your water heater is located, whether it's in the basement or if it's in the garage, wherever it is. If it's leaking at the tank, don't take the risk. Go ahead and get it replaced, get it changed out, because it could be a period of months before it causes that flood, or actually just days. The second thing that you want to realize is that daytime is the crime time. And what that means is it used to be thought that a lot of crimes occurred at night, and it's not the case so much anymore. Now, right now, what we're seeing in the United States is that a lot of crimes actually occur between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. It only makes most sense. If you have kids, your kids are in school during that time, and whenever you're going to work, you're leaving earlier than that, and they're relying on the fact that everybody gets caught up in the hustle and bustle of their life and have left a door unlocked, a window unlocked, or some other way of accessing their home during the time they're not away. It's like carte blanche. So you want to make sure that you're keeping everything secured on your property. Follow some of the home protection tips videos that we've made before, and go ahead and get your home secured. Now, the third thing that you want to do is make your furnace last. The way that you're going to make your furnace last is actually making sure that you get air filters, and you replace those air filters every month if you're getting the lesser grade kind, or if you get a higher quality, you can change them out every 3 months. Either way, you want to make sure that you're keeping the air filters changed out, keeping that airflow nice and natural in there by maintaining your furnace. And another pro tip here is to actually get a service contract with a great HVAC company in your location and have them come out twice a year. Once, obviously, before the winter months, so that you can have the furnace checked, tested, and make sure it's ready to go for the winter. And obviously, going into the spring, so that you can have your AC checked and make sure that all the refrigerant and anything that's needed inside your AC unit is ready to go for the hot summer. The fourth thing is not to squish those ants. I know that sometimes we get those little sugar ants or those little ants in the house, and they're so annoying. You're springing up, you're like, where the heck did they come from? They look like a million, just millions of them is what it seems like sometimes whenever you get these ants in the house. Don't squish them. It's not going to solve the issue. Now, what you could do is put out liquid bait. The liquid bait will normally attract more of them to them, so you'll be like, well, Andrew, there's like, I had 1 million, now I have like 12 million ants going in and eating that bait. That's a good thing, because they're going to take all that liquid poison back to their nest, and it's going to end up killing them off. So that's another way of taking care of that. And of course, if you have a monthly contract with a pest professional, that's another way of keeping pests abated at your property as well. The fifth thing is, in the case that and it has to do with your toilet. So the fifth thing with the toilet is that you can actually flush your toilet by pouring a couple of gallons of water into it. You say, well, Andrew, I can just flush it. And that's true, and hopefully that always stays the case. But what happens if you ever lose water? What happens if you ever lose power? Sometimes people don't realize that the water and the power are actually separate and distinct of each other. So even if you lose power, your water still should be operational. In the event that you do lose water and you need to flush your toilet, pour a couple gallons either into the reservoir tank or directly into the basin itself, and then it'll flush it as well. The sixth thing is that you want to shut off your water valve before you go on vacation. Now, this is one of those last minute things. It's so minute, but it could be a big thing if something goes wrong with your water while you're on vacation. And the reason is whenever you're getting ready to go on vacation, especially if you're going out of country or going out of state or something like that, then the last thing on your mind is that water valve. The reason you want to shut that off is because in case there's a leak inside one of your faucets, your bathroom, your toilet, anywhere on your property, whether it be your landscape or something. If you have the water valve shut off from the main water valve, or at least ways the water valve to your house, then you won't have to worry about any issues whenever you come back home. Then you just turn back on that water valve and everything is ready to go for you. The seventh thing that you want to do is actually locate your main water shutoff valve. Now, this is really, really important to do whenever the weather is nice and we're not facing any issues, because the last thing that you want to be trying to do is find that main water shutoff valve whenever you're actually experiencing, unfortunately, like a natural calamity or some other kind of issue. You need to locate that main water shutoff valve to keep it from causing problems with your property and turn it off. So in the case of like a wildfire or something like that, you want to go ahead and get that stuff turned off, or in the case of a flood, depending on what part of the country you live in. The eighth thing that you want to do is you want to know where your property lines are. Now, a really good thing with having a trusted real estate advisor, they're very good at being able to help you with this. Or if you want to go to the city and go to the planning division and ask them for a plot map, you could do that too. But your real estate agent will actually be able to give you a good idea of where your property lines are based upon tax records and the assessments from the city. There's tools like a realist report is what you want to be asking your trusted real estate advisor for. It's called Realist, like REALIST. That report will show you your property boundaries, and there's a lot of other software out there that agents have access to that actually will grid off your actual plot. But to get it fine-tuned, then you might want to go to the city and have a surveyor come out and just mark those areas as well. So the ninth point is synthetic soap. Whenever you clean with synthetic soap, whether it's bathing or whether it's actually just cleaning product, synthetic soap will actually make less soap scum. So pretty self-explanatory on that one. The 10th one is don't leave your remote control in the car. Now there goes two things on this one. One is that if you have a remote operated alarm system to your house, you don't want to leave that remote in the car. If you have a remote that goes to your garage door, you don't want to leave that remote in your car if, and the word is if, you're leaving that car parked in the driveway. Now, if you're using your garage for its intended purpose and parking your vehicle in there, then okay, then it makes a little bit more sense, but you still want to take out your alarm remote to your house as opposed to leaving it in the car. So somebody that could come by, if you left the garage door open, go into your car real quick, snag out your remote, snag out some personal information. That's not cool. So go ahead and take that under advisement so that you can think about that whenever you're living in your new home. Going back to the second point that daytime is crime time, making sure your house isn't a target. So the 11th thing is, as you're doing home improvements and as you're doing anything from like landscape maintenance to simple DIY projects, make sure that you're wearing hearing protection. I mean, it's one of those things you think, oh, it's not that loud. It's not that loud with the weed whacker or the mower or, you know, the trimmers or whatever, or the saw. Here's the thing. If you keep doing that over time and over time and over time, your hearing is going to start becoming impaired, as opposed to just putting in some plugs in your ears. You could either use the soft ones like some people use like on a gun range or something, or you could actually use the headset and muffle your ears to make sure that you're protecting your hearing as you continue with your DIY projects. The 12th thing is it has to do with caulk. So the caulk, a squeeze tube caulk, isn't going to be as good as actually having a caulk gun. So if you're doing something like seaming up the caulk around your bathtub, your shower, or around your toilet or something like that, then you want to have a actual caulk gun. They're not that expensive to get, and they'll make a world of difference whenever you're laying down the bead around where you're caulking as opposed to the squeeze tube. The squeeze tube is pretty difficult to use that way. So invest in a caulk gun up front and it'll save you a lot of time. The 13th point here is that you want to choose colors that work now and later. Now, what we're talking about with colors that work now and later are whenever you're going to repaint rooms or areas of your house. Ideally, you always want to keep them to a neutral palette, because when you go to resell your property, the last thing that you're going to want to have to do is take all your stuff off the walls and repaint your house. So whenever you're repainting your house as you're living in it, it's highly advised and highly recommended that you paint to a neutral color palette. A nice earth tone palette will work, and then you can decorate around that palette using the colors of your preference. Let's say you're someone that enjoys like earth tone colors or jewel tone colors or something like that. Look, the base of the house, consider it like the canvas. And consider your artwork that you put up, anything from like area rugs to decorum, kind of like what I have behind me and stuff like that, as your splash of color that more accentuates your personality and the way that you want to live and the things that you want to see when you come to your kingdom and you're happy living in your home, and it's what relaxes you. But for the base trim of the house, consider a neutral palette. Again, look behind me. The wall is a neutral palette that if and whenever I decided to sell this home, then I could go ahead and do so, and the color palette is just right. The 14th thing is understanding what an R value is. Your R value is actually your insulation value. You'll want to know what your insulation value is for your home. And the reason this becomes important is because the higher the R value that you have, the more insulation you have in your home, the more it's going to cut back on your utilities in both the heating and air conditioning of your property because it's better insulated. You can always contact professionals that specialize with that, either an HVAC company or people that provide insulation in homes. Check your R value, see if what you can do to improve it, and if you so desire to make your home more energy efficient. The 15th point is don't trust a breaker panel label. Now, when was the last time you took a little trip to where your breaker panel is located? And you're over there, maybe something went out in your house. Maybe you guys are married or something like that, and the lady of the house is using a blow dryer and she's trying to do her hair, get ready for work, and poof, the power goes off, and now she's in an uproar. You're over there scrambling, trying to figure out what happened. She's over there scrambling if she's home alone, trying to figure out what's going on with the breaker panels, and it says master bathroom breaker, right? And she flips it. She goes back inside, it doesn't work. She trips the GFCI, it doesn't work. And now she's flipping every single thing, and then now she's 30 minutes late for work, and she's very aggravated, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. That ain't cool. So know where your breaker panel is, and go ahead and test that whenever you first buy your house. And if you haven't done it yet, since you've been living in your house, go ahead and test it. Get a Dymo label printer, or get yourself a magic marker, or a label system, and go ahead and label it accordingly to what you're going to know what it is, what room it goes to, what area of the house it goes to, so that it makes sense to you as you're living there. And I'd probably say I'm a big fan of suggesting to keep a homeowner record, like a binder. And as you go through your breaker panel, actually write down what breaker corresponds to what aspect of the house that you're talking about. So if it's like breaker 1, main living area, write it down in your homeowner log as well, so that if the Dymo label comes off or the magic marker fades, then you'll be able to easily remember what it went to. So the 16th thing that you want to think about are that galvanized pipes, homes that have galvanized pipes stand the risk of getting plugged. They can actually rust, they can actually cause a lot of different issues. So just be aware of it, that if you are buying a house with galvanized pipes, those pipes may need to be replaced at some point while you own the home. So go ahead and be saving that 1% a year of your home's value for your home maintenance. Now, that's why I always recommend that, saving at least 1% of your home value. So if your home is $400,000 every year in a separate account that you never touch, except for big home maintenance projects, you'd be putting aside $4,000 a year. So that if something like that came up, you'd have the money on hand to go ahead and take care of it. The 17th point, it goes back to DIY projects again, especially if you're sawing like wood or anything that produces particulate matter. You want to have a good dust mask. And specific, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy like the $50 gas mask, but you do want to get one that it has what's called an N95 certification. The N95 certification means that it's going to be able to better protect you from a more wide array of debris that's coming in the mask and keep your air quality greater and keep it from getting into your lungs and keep you healthier. It's one of those things, again, really small things, but they really add up between hearing protection and protecting your lungs whenever you are doing these projects. So the 18th point, this is a fun one, and I bet you can think of somebody. If you're not guilty of this one, I bet you know someone that is, and that's whenever you buy a toilet. So if you have like a round bowl toilet right now, you're like, well, I'm at the home store, I see these oblong kind, and they kind of look like they're sexier, more attractive toilets, if you will, in as much that a toilet can become sexy and attractive or more convenient for the family members to use. Here's the thing. You need to measure the toilet and make sure that you have the right spacing in between the doors, because this is going back to where I said, I bet you know someone that's guilty of this, or you've heard of this before or seen it somewhere, where they go get this brand new beautiful toilet and then they try to open the door to the bathroom and now it's like hitting the toilet and it's not so cool after all. And you're like, now I'm going to have to make some changes here. So just as a general rule of thumb, when you're measuring a toilet bowl, just go ahead and especially if you got like the round kind, add 2 inches to it for the oblong kind. That's kind of what you're looking at there, and make sure that everything's going to work out, especially if you have like tile around those floors in there. You might have to redo some of those areas of the tile, or again with the doors, you need to take that into consideration as well. plan it out by measuring it out and before you install that toilet so that you don't have that problem. The 19th thing is to actually take a preview of your fence. Take a look at your fence line and make sure that your fence is in good condition, especially with like cinder block fences. They're prone to getting cracks at times, or if you have wrought iron fences, they're prone to getting rusted over time. You want to make sure that your fence is in good condition and call in the appropriate professional if it needs to be patched or worked on to keep your fence secure. The 20th thing is don't fall off the roof. Please don't fall off the roof. I mean, it sounds like common sense, but every year people do that. They break bones, they get hurt by falling off a roof. So don't fall off a roof and there's a few different ways that you can do that. Number one, don't go up on a ladder with slippery shoes on. I mean, like work shoes, like the kind that I wear to work every day, would not be a good shoe to go up on my up on my roof with, because I could slip off the tile of my roof and down on the ground because I have no traction. A sneaker or a boot or something like that would go a long ways to making sure that you're secure up there. And especially depending on the pitch of the roof, you may not need to go up on your roof ever. If it's too sharp of a pitch, then it may be best just to call in a roofer to do anything that you need them to do up there. Something to consider, something to think about, but please don't fall off the roof and get hurt. The idea is to enjoy your home, not get hurt by it. So the 21st and last point that we'll be making today is get a floor protector. So a floor protector could be a lot of different things depending on the flooring type that you have. If you have carpet, obviously you want to have some kind of stain guard for your floor protector, some kind of area rugs that you put over the carpet perhaps, depending on how you live. If it's tile, if it's wood, if it's laminate, then you want to make sure, depending on what it is, that you have it sealed. So like if it's like a wood floor, you want to have it sealed so it protects the wood. It gives it an extra layer of protection. And the other thing is that you can also protect your wood with area rugs, going back to how you can make your home look more like you and your personality style, the way you want it to look at. Even if you have like a neutral color palette throughout your home, area rugs will tie in nicely with the artwork that you could put up on a house, and go ahead and start making everything pop that way. It can also help protect your floor. Now with your tiles, they also need to be sealed, and they also need to be kept clean as well. So there are companies that provide that stuff, but that is actually stuff that you can do yourself. Now I will urge you to stay the heck away from Mop and Glow. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Mop and Glow as a company or the product or anything. I mean, everything has its place. But inside your house, if you use Mop and Glow, unless you have the ability to have your house or to do it yourself, or have someone professionally strip out your tile and actually wax it out, buff it out, and then apply a sealant to it, that stuff can be pretty nasty over time because it builds up, it cakes on, and unless you can professionally strip that stuff off, then there's going to be a problem into the future with it causing some problems on your floor, as far as how it's going to be difficult to clean. Let's just put it that way. So the best thing to do is research what kind of floor you have and talk to the home store, or find out more about that from people that are flooring specialists of the best ways to protect your floor for the flooring type that you have. Now this has been a really interesting video with 21 points you should know as a homeowner. This is the fun part. Tell me which part of this video you got the most impact from in the comment section below. Was it the fact of point number 1 with the leaking water heater is a time bomb? Was it the 4th point that you don't want to squish the ants and you actually want to put out liquid baits? Or was it something about the 8th point where we're talking about finding the property lines? Or perhaps was it the 18th point, which we're talking about before you buy a toilet, measure it. So tell us about what your favorite part of this video was, along with any of your tips that you want to share with our community in the comment section below. I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information up right now. If you have any questions about this video, or if you need help finding a top agent where you live, please feel free to reach out to me. I always enjoy to hear from you, even if you just want to say hello. In between now and next time, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things before we go there. Sorry, my bad. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now, like this video, and share this video around with someone you know is going to be able to help. In between now and next time, I'm wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Thank you, and enjoy an amazing day.